2020. All new RCWR show. Lee Sanders here. We are covering the very latest in all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. What's going on, man? A couple of minutes removed from an all-new WWE RAW. Not too shabby of an episode this week, yeah. Do have the poll, as always, asking you guys, because I want to know, what did you think about this week's WWE RAW? So sound off, let me know. I got the Twitter poll at the RCWR show. Feel free to give me a follow over there as well while you're at it. Also, in case you don't have Twitter, you can always hit up YouTube, youtube.com/the RCWR show. Click on the communities tab and you can cast your vote that way. Now, I just put both of those out not even 5 minutes ago, but I am a little bit curious just to see what's going on as far as Twitter. Let's see what's going on with you guys on Twitter right now. Twitter, because I'm curious if I can get a little bit of a gauge, a hot gauge from you guys on Twitter. And right now I am seeing, yeah, even though it was less than 5 minutes ago, got a pretty good amount so far. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a hot minute. Man, we got a nice slam dunk episode for y'all tonight, man. Going to be going a little bit all over the place, man. So we're streaming a couple of different outlets. We're streaming on Twitch, Periscope/Twitter, also streaming on YouTube. Still ironing out the kinks for Facebook, but I will be streaming live. The goal is hopefully before the month is out, we'll be back streaming on Facebook once again. So a lot we're going to be talking about. We'll definitely be talking about Raw. Looking forward to AEW Dynamite. We'll preview that for you guys as they're going to be going back to their regular time slot of Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Remember, NBA playoffs has been throwing them off a little bit. So back to business as usual. And as a matter of fact, back to business as far as the Wednesday Night War goes, because NXT is going to be moving back to Wednesday as well. We'll see how long that's going to be holding up for the remainder quarter. Yeah, but we'll preview AEW Dynamite. Fantastic weekend going into tonight, wasn't it? If you were a major sports fan, you had your NBA action, you had your NFL week 1 now in the books. I watched as many games as I could. I gotta tell you, it's nice being on the old saddle again when it comes to Sundays. My day, I don't know about you all, but my day begins Sundays at 9 a.m. Eastern when football season is in full effect, because I love watching Rich Eisen and the gang over on NFL Network. I love watching NFL Game Day. They pretty much get me going until 12 o'clock. Then I switch on over to Fox and I watch the NFL Today show. So let me see if I got this straight. And damn, is it so good to be Jimmy Johnson, I guess. So Jimmy Johnson is now, I guess for this season with the whole pandemic that's going on, Jimmy Johnson is now going to be coming to us from his home in Florida. Am I understanding this right? Because we never saw him at all physically in the studio. He was just there remotely. I mean, it must be nice. This guy is being paid to do some remote stuff. Hey, God bless him. If you're able to fucking get that money and you can get it in that type of a situation, that's awesome. That is awesome. I can't hate. I don't think anybody can hate that. I think many of us would be like, where can we sign up to get money that easy? Seriously, where can we sign up? But yeah, interesting week 1 of NFL action that we had. I don't want to get too long-winded with the whole, but longtime listeners know that usually when the football on that comes into effect, I do like diving into it and everything. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a hot second. You know, we'll go a little back and forth and everything. So, don't worry, but, just tease that just for a little bit. So I got to tell you, with regards to Raw tonight, just talking about a couple of key points, the Hurt Business. I'm falling more and more in love with the Hurt Business. It's interesting because it didn't grow on me at first. It didn't. It was kind of one of those things that just snuck up on me, and I'm not sure how it was for many of you fans out there. I would imagine it kind of snuck up on you guys as well, but I gotta tell you, it's been sneaking up on me week by week. And just when I think, okay, as far as the Hurt Business goes, it's pretty much reached its peak at this point. I don't think it's going to get any higher. It's not going to get any more interesting. A new layer gets added into the whole mix. And I got to give WWE mad props, because as far as continuity goes, let alone with tonight's episode in particular, a couple of areas where I can poke some holes, and I'll dive into that in a hot second, but overall, a decent show as far as when you look at your storyline continuity. And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that exactly? Okay, so I like the fact that you got Adam Pearce, who is frustrated to no end once again because Retribution has essentially crashed the party. Because at one point, we did see the Hurt Business. All the members were out, middle of the ring. They were talking their hot game and everything. But then we see Apollo Crews. Who's the other guy that was with him? Ricochet. You know, they both came out there a bit butthurt over the fact that Cedric Alexander chose the Hurt Business over them. And they pretty much... And they really didn't want to keep going back and forth there, but pretty much their whole thing was, okay, you thought it was bad what the Hurt Business was doing to you on a week-to-week basis. That ain't nothing compared to what we got planned for you. So, you know, we saw these guys, you know, they were brawling and everything, and I think that might have set up a impromptu match. I'm just looking at the notes here of all the matches that went down tonight as this edition of WWE RAW was being dubbed In Your Face. And you know what I'm reminded of whenever I just hear In Your Face? I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big Megadeth fan. And there's one particular song that I love tremendously. It's from 1997's Cryptic Writings album, but it would actually be the remastered, remixed album of Cryptic Writings that had saw bonus songs that didn't make the initial cut get released and everything. And there's this one track that's called Bullprick. And if you guys know anything about that song, that's actually one of my top favorite Megadeth songs. But the lyrics to that, you know, it's basically, on your backs, in your face, down your throat, up your ass, Bullprick. Good song, look it up. But just every time I kept hearing tonight's Raw episode, you know, In Your Face, I'm just reminded of the fucking Megadeth song, you know, in your face, down your throat. I'm just like, that's just me, to each its own. But now looking at the notes here, as far as the matches that went down for tonight, I was talking about Cedric Alexander, Hurt Business, also talking about Ricochet and Apollo Crews. And there was actually a match between Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. Not bad of a match, but like I said, we did see the Hurt Business get a little bit interrupted in there. Cedric Alexander did pick up the W. He did pick up the W. I do want to stress that. However, the lights were flickering and all of that other stuff, and Retribution interrupted. They weren't there physically, but they did occupy all the monitors once again. And can I just a quick sidebar for a second? I gotta tell you, the video that was released last week, and I don't know if I can really give the credit to Matt Coon, but Matt Coon, a buddy of mine on Twitter and everything, he was actually one of the people I first saw, to my knowledge, that unless he says differently otherwise, and it was not him, to my knowledge, he was the one that did a little bit of filtering, since he does have a audio and musical background and everything. He did a little bit of cleaning up of the Batman audio, and you were able to actually hear the people behind Retribution. And you're going, oh shit. So you have this big old, what was a mystery, now it's pretty much exposed, if you will. And I know some people are kind of going, oh, why are we spoiling things? Why can't we just enjoy something? Blah, blah, blah. Well, this is my question. Did you click on any of those things when you saw it on your social media feed? Because if you clicked on any of those things, then you kind of knew what you were getting yourself into beforehand, did you not? I'm sure you did. But put that to the side. All right, so now we know the voices. My whole thing was, and it included tonight, man, why can't we have these people in Retribution have some type of mascara or makeup, black makeup or something going on with the eyes? Because the eyes are going to be a dead giveaway as far as figuring out who these members are of Retribution. So, and I mean, tonight they really homed in on the eyes of Retribution while they were talking. They were only occupying the monitors for probably about, I would say, man, it felt like maybe it was about 90 seconds to maybe 3 minutes at most. But you got a really good close-up of the eyes, and if you know your wrestlers like that from what you see of them on programming each week, you can, by process of elimination, oh yeah, those eyes belong to, insert this name. Oh, those eyes, okay, that belongs to. The voices were still distorted, but it wasn't quite like what we had saw last week, where basically the audio from last week, it was essentially the same of what WWE was using this week. So as far as, well, maybe they'll be smart and they'll do a better job in filtering and make it much more challenging, much more difficult for somebody such as us guys in the podcasting world. We edit audio, we clean up audio, and we know how to freaking mess around with some things, and boom, there's the actual real voices for you guys. Maybe they would make it a little bit more challenging for guys like us to try to decipher, but I think now that the cat is out of the bag, they just need to go on ahead and just, okay, these are the guys. Retribution, though, pretty much the same old stuff that they were putting out there. But, you know, just to kind of show them a little bit of love, because I know there's actually some people that actually do give a damn about Retribution. My notes here, they talked about being waste, scrap, byproduct, talked about loyalty to an entity that then cast them out like garbage. They are corrupt as a result. They once believed that their time would lead them to fame and wealth, but they refuse to suck up to an entitled regime. Enjoy the final days of oblivion. They will show us exactly who they are. They are Retribution. Yeah, okay, cool. Whatever, dude. Yeah. Now, one new little development. I don't know how many of you guys were aware of this, but at some point, I want to say right before Raw came on, Dominik Dijakovic, he put out a cryptic tweet. Normally, I would do the whole share screen with you guys, but there's really, I don't really need to do that. I can just basically tell you what the man had said. But a very cryptic tweet that he put out there, which really leaves you to believe that, yeah, he's definitely involved with Retribution. Now, the only thing he put this out a little bit over 30 minutes before Raw came on tonight. So at the timestamp that I'm seeing it right now on his Twitter account, he put it out at 7:32 p.m. Eastern, September the, actually, you know what? That would be Sunday he put this out. Forgive me there, folks. Sunday, September the 13th at 7:32 p.m. he put this tweet out with just 4 numbers, 1213. Just the numbers 1213. Now, some of you guys may be saying, what exactly is 1213? What exactly is he saying right here? Is that a time? Is that, I'm thinking automatically, well, maybe pay-per-view? Maybe this means the pay-per-view where we're finally going to be able to see Retribution unmask themselves. And I'm automatically thinking, okay, so maybe he's trying to say December 13th. So I immediately looked at the calendar and I jumped all the way into December just to find out, okay, so when does the 13th hit this year? And for December, there is a Sunday, December 13th. So I'm going, okay, so is this maybe a pay-per-view that Dijakovic is promoting where Retribution is finally gonna reveal themselves? So then I do a little bit of cross-referencing. Yeah, your man did a little bit of homework here tonight, y'all. So then I did a little bit of cross-referencing because it's been a good minute. I said, okay, well, let me see what's going on with the WWE pay-per-views for the rest of 2020. Maybe that can kind of help me a little bit more and help me figure out what's going on here. So this is what's going on for the rest of 2020. September 27th, as you all know, that's Clash of Champions. That's going to be coming up in about 2 weeks. Then on October 10th, we have an NXT TakeOver event. November 1st, we have Hell in a Cell. A couple of weeks after that, November 22nd, is Survivor Series. After that, December 6th is an NXT TakeOver event. And then December 23rd is WWE's TLC Tables, Ladders, and Chairs. So that's pretty much it. I mean, unless something is going to slide in there, pay-per-view wise, for December the 13th, then your guess is as good as mine. What does 1213 means? So is it a timestamp? Is it a particular date? You know, what are we doing? What are we talking about here? Now, some of you guys may say, well, maybe he was just trying to allude to something. Maybe he was getting ready to follow up with some type of another post or something. Maybe he put something a couple of hours out later after that post. That's a good point. All right, so looking at his social media feed, and as far as any other stuff that he put out there, that's the only thing that you see right now. So he did not follow up whatsoever. And if you really want to get your brain going and everything, you can easily kick on back and you can just look at that thread as everybody is trying to figure out, what the hell is he talking about? Somebody decipher this already. What the hell is he talking about? Some of you guys maybe. Now, you could also look at lettering. Have you all tried that yet? I know you guys like that. You know, those numbers, does each number maybe represent something as far as the alphabet? You know, you all got to figure that out. Me, I love this kind of mystery. It gets us all talking and everything, adds a new layer of deciphering a code and all that, and trying to crack this whole retribution thing. As long as it doesn't end up being a case of one of my favorite scenes from A Christmas Story, where Ralphie gets his fucking little orphan nanny decipher code, and he gets in front of the freaking radio, and he's with his brother and his list. Actually, no, he's not with his brother. This go round, he comes home from school, and he's checking the mailbox because he's been looking for that decipher code for weeks. It finally came in the mail, and so he rushes in the house, opens that bad boy up, and he's getting nice and relaxed. He's got the radio playing. He goes to the one place he knows he can have privacy and he can do his thing in peace and figure out this code for the week, and that's the bathroom. And his little brother is trying to freaking go in there because he's got to go bad, but Ralphie isn't letting him in for shit. Not until he cracks that code. And he's just foaming at the mouth. Those of you that know A Christmas Story, you know that scene I'm talking about very, very well. Very, very well. And he's just, the first letter. I mean, just the excitement, the palms sweating and fog building up in the frames and everything. And he's just building up that anticipation. And then when he finally cracks the fucking code, be sure to drink your Ovaltine. So hopefully it's not a case where whatever this code thing is, it's not going to end up being like that. And of course, we remember Ralphie going, son of a bitch. And then he went downstairs pretty pissed off afterwards. So hopefully it doesn't end up being a situation like that. But, you know, I know some of you guys, you have your ideas as far as, you know, who they are, who's the stable and all of that. I mean, I have my idea as well. But you know what? There's actually some people that are legitimately just trying to kick back and they're just trying to enjoy themselves, enjoy the storyline for what it's worth. And they want to be surprised when WWE feels the time is right. This is when we're going to do the big reveal and everything. So, I mean, hey, you actually got some people that still like that good slow pace. And look, I appreciate and respect WWE for not blowing their load so quickly and just, okay, here's the big reveal. And I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you the reason why I'm defending WWE in this case, even if most of us are right as far as the identities go. Not to make it long and drawn out, but I remember how television was back in the 80s, back in the 90s, and even in the early 2000s. And I remember when it came to season cliffhangers. Okay, this is it. This is it. After this new episode, there's not going to be any more until after the new year. So basically usually after New Year's Day, right? Usually about the third week of January, that's when the shows would come back because they would want to try to get in there for the February sweeps and everything. So they would usually have these nice big cliffhangers and you're like, man, so what happened? And you just had to wait. You just had to wait. And this was way before social media blew up to where it is now. You know, with the Twitters, the MySpaces, and all of that. I mean, sure, even way back then, you had your little chat rooms, your AOL, your Yahoo chat rooms, and all of that, where you could find like-minded people and talk about some of your favorite shows, movies, and all of that. But it was nowhere near the magnitude of where it is now and everything. And then when you had your season finales and it ended on such a cliffhanger where you're like, shit, what the hell? I gotta wait until fall. Yeah, that was like, for some people, it was an excruciating 3-4 months just to figure out what happened to some of their favorite heroes or villains or characters, whatever. And back then, I gotta tell you, the way a lot of those shows were and how they handled their mid-season finales or just their season finales, they didn't cave. They did not cave. You might have had fans back then that wanted some type of instant gratification, knowing, okay, so what happened? I need to know now. I can't wait. Well, back then, all you could do was wait. But now we're in this day and age where instant gratification. And I mean, a perfect example of that, I've said it once or twice on the show, but I still remember when Glenn of Walking Dead, when he met his demise. Not the actual demise, but the one before that. And you had so many people that were going on Reddit pages and you name it, everywhere on social media. Petitions were being signed left and right. Everybody was just all fucking butt hurt. And they wanted instant gratification. They wanted to know that Glenn was okay. They wanted to know that he wasn't really dead, that this was just a swerve for viewership. And you had the producer of Walking Dead. I remember him on that Talking Dead episode. I remember him saying, we'll probably see the Glenn character maybe in some type of a flashback that's very important in setting up something for the present. Who knows? Maybe we'll see something along those lines. But you could tell he wanted to say a lot more. I'm thinking to myself, hey, you just did great freaking storytelling. If everybody wants to get all upset and they're crying and let them. Don't give them the instant gratification and blow your load right then and there and give them what they want. Milk it for what it's worth. But then eventually they caved. And that's not the first time that a TV show to some extent has caved to giving the fans what they want, because that's the type of era that we're in now. It's all about the instant gratification. So I do commend WWE for, we're gonna stretch this out for as long as we can. You just got to make sure that it's not so slow paced and it's not staying at the same pace that eventually fans just don't give a fuck. And we did go through that period there for several weeks. And they didn't show up at certain pay-per-views, and you're like, what the hell here? You got McMahon and family, they're not really acknowledging this. And you're going, okay, what the hell? What's going on here? So the new layer that was added tonight by having Retribution and the Hurt Business collide, I love that. I love that on a lot of levels. And here's where we bring it back home. You thought I forgot the consistency. Ever since Retribution first started doing their things with the lights and everything, they had an enemy in the Hurt Business. Now, Hurt Business thought maybe Ricochet, Cedric Alexander, Apollo Crews, they thought originally, as you all know, oh, these guys must be behind this shit. What the hell's going on here? But, you know, as time has progressed, Hurt Business has loosened up their stance on maybe it's not these guys after all. Maybe it's not. Still a bit doubtful, but maybe it's not them. And to see Retribution running around causing all the bullshit that they're causing, and now you've got the Hurt Business, and it's about damn time that somebody, I got to commend the writers here, it's about damn time that you had somebody have the common sense to go, well, since the Hurt Business has felt that their feathers have been ruffled far too many times by this Retribution stable, it's about time maybe we kind of see them step up to the plate and try to solve this little problem once and for all. So I love seeing their interactions with Adam Pearce tonight, saying, hey, we see this problem that you have here. What you need to do is go from boys to men, with the Hurt Business being men, and them saying, you know, we can help you with this problem. And you knew that as far as the Hurt Business goes, and just MVP's whole persona, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. I'm talking about that common sense. So there's a rhyme to reason. MVP is not just gonna, in storyline, MVP is not just gonna do something just for the hell of it. There is merit. There is some serious cachet that comes along with that. So for Pierce to make the type of deal that he made with the Hurt Business, I would imagine, just kind of looking further down the line, if Hurt Business is once and for all able to essentially rectify all the problems that upper management and talent has been having with Retribution, I would imagine MVP is probably going to try to cash in for a world title shot opportunity. Whether it be for him or you know, whoever, I would imagine he's going to be looking for something along those lines. Kind of makes a lot of sense if you really stop and think about it. But, you know, that's kind of further down the road. But I love seeing them fucking step up, and they fucking took the fight there to the Hurt Business. Because our main event match of the night, it was Drew McIntyre taking on Keith Lee. I like the friction that went about before the match. Didn't care particularly about when the guys had got physical with each other. I don't know if that was shot earlier in the night with the two of them in an empty arena. I don't know what was going on with that, but there was some footage that they had showed where they were talking, and next thing you know, some things were taken out of context and they just started brawling. Okay, well, I appreciate that from WWE because, all right, after all, you want to try to create a little bit of friction here. You want to try to have one of these people go into this match with some type of a chip on their shoulder, some type of an edge. All right, so I appreciate that. By the way, I noticed this on my respected timeline. Not many of my friends noticed this in their respective timelines as well. What the fuck is up with you guys that's given two shits about what Keith Lee is wearing? I saw so many people that were complaining about his singlet that he was wearing tonight. And I just couldn't help but go, this is all you care about? I mean, there were legit people that were griping over his attire. You got some people, oh no, he shouldn't be wearing these one-piece suits. You know, he should be coming out there half naked. We need to see his chest. We need to see his stomach. And, you know, what's going on here? And you notice I've never mentioned anything about, oh, Keith Lee needs to have this going on the top, or probably the only thing I have said about his attire. I said, okay, his attire looks a bit too generic. His attire needs some type of additional logos, Limitless, Keith. It just needs something because it looks too bland. It looks empty. It looks unfinished. And that would be no different. And it turns out Shawn Michaels had actually confirmed it. One of my all-time favorite Shawn Michaels attires. A lot of people don't like the attire, but I actually like the attire. One of my all-time favorite Shawn Michaels attires was the one where it was brown spandex. And I'm trying to think. I think that was the night that he had won the... I think that was the night that he won the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know if that was the one where he won it in an elimination chamber. My memory is a little bit fuzzy right now. But he wore some type of brown tights. And I remember when I was looking at it way back then with my friends, I remember saying, man, his shit looks a bit incomplete. And I remember one of my best friends, Diego, he was like, yeah, oh, hell yeah, because he was a huge Shawn Michaels fan. I remember one of the first times I started noticing Shawn Michaels was going bald. Diego was saying, nah, man, he still got his hair. He still got it. It's just wet. That's all. It's just wet. I'm like, nah, man. I mean, you could not say anything bad about Shawn Michaels because Diego would defend that guy. He had a man crush. I think it might have been a bit deeper than a man crush, but he loved him some Shawn Michaels. He did not give a fuck. Every time Shawn Michaels came on the TV, he'd be running to it and everything. I mean, he would try to imitate all of his moves, the way he would cut promos. He was pretty good. He was pretty good in his own respected right. I'll give him his props. He was pretty good. But even he admitted, as much of a diehard Shawn Michaels fan as he was, even he admitted when he saw that attire, he said, yeah, it does look a little bit incomplete. It's not exactly the Shawn Michaels Heartbreak Kid stuff we're used to. And it's like, yeah, we're like, what the hell? And I remember much later on after that, I can't remember what interview he gave, but he did talk about that night, and he did talk about how that attire that he wore was unfinished. And he talked about what the original plan was, what all was supposed to be on it and everything. So probably the only thing when I was looking at some of Keith Lee's attires, I was going, okay, it looks a bit incomplete. We need to finish that up a little bit. Otherwise, he's good. And I got to give Keith Lee, the fashion design people, a lot of credit. The attire that he wore going into this match with Drew McIntyre tonight, it looked more complete. I couldn't exactly see what was going on with the logos and the text, but the fact that an effort was made to put some cool stuff on there, I appreciate that. It almost kind of gave me a Heart Foundation vibe, meets a little bit of Hugh Morris and Rhino. That was kind of the vibe I got when I was looking at his attire tonight. But, everybody that's tripping over, why is he pushing a one piece? It's like, really, who gives a fuck? It should he could go out there wearing a fucking paper bag over his face, or a paper bag for draws, and just be wearing socks for boots. Like, who cares? It's all about how is he when he goes out there and he's cutting these promos, he's doing his thing in the ring. That's what we should be caring about the most. None of that other stuff matters. None of it should matter, because that's just all cosmetics. That's stuff that can be changed week in and week out. If you're that butthurt over what's going on with his attire, look, I don't know how many of you guys still play the WWE games. I mean, which, by the way, shameless plug. I mean, we're not being endorsed by them in any way, but 2K, they are going to be releasing WWE Battlegrounds. It's going to be dropping this Friday. So that game, your past favorite WWE game, you can always just load up that favorite game, or some No Mercy, whatever your favorite wrestling game is, and you can go do whatever, creating your own Keith Lee and have him wear whatever you want him to wear. Problem solved. But, like, who gives a fuck? Like I said on Twitter, and I don't want to mention any names because, you'd be surprised how many wrestlers make their rounds checking out what other podcasts have to say about them, and then they think it's personal, and then they get butthurt, and then they go on a blocking spree and all that other shit. It's like, and I always say on this show, it's never personal when I'm bringing up constructive criticism, things of that nature. It's just a critique. Doesn't mean I'm right, I'm wrong. It's just an opinion at the end of the day. That's it. But like I said on Twitter, when I was seeing all this on my timeline about people complaining about what he was wearing tonight, I said, not for nothing, but there's another wrestler that works for another promotion. You know, he wears trunks, elbow pads, boots. He's a big boy. He's a big boy. He's a lot bigger than me. I'm losing my weight, but he's very big. And sadly, when you look at his gut, particularly when you go under the gut, he's got a line, a deep line that goes right, it cuts right into his belly button and everything. And the way it cuts into his belly button, it looks like he's got butt cheeks for a gut. I'm not making fun of him at all. I swear to God. I swear to God. And you can tell me till you're blue in the face, Lee, what's the wrestler? You can share it with me. I won't tell anybody. No. And if I give you any more fucking hints as far as who the wrestler is, you're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. And then it's going to be, oh, yeah. And then I guarantee you that wrestler will eventually hear about it. And I don't care if I'm blocked by the wrestler. But again, some people, they take any type of criticism the wrong way. They get butt hurt, and I'm not about all that drama and all that. But, you know, you're paying attention, you're making your rounds, checking out all the promotions and everything. You'll know exactly who I'm talking about. Don't ask me what race they are, because that's going to be a dead giveaway as well. But, you know, it's like you look at that, and it's like, you know, some people, okay, if you're going to wear trunks, okay, well, maybe you should kind of have the Dusty Rhodes treatment when it comes to your trunks, and maybe you should kind of wear those a bit high up. You know, maybe you should kind of wear it past your belly button, kind of wear it maybe halfway to your stomach almost, just so you can kind of, because it is distracting. It's very distracting. Every time I look at this guy's match, no homo, I'm always going right to that area, and I gotta force myself to just try not to look down there and just look at everything else. But it doesn't help when I see him constantly trying to readjust his trunks and everything. But that match between Drew McIntyre and Keith Lee, it did not meet a proper conclusion because Retribution crashed the scene, beating the crap out of both of those guys. But then the Hurt Business, you know, right when I'm looking at when Raw is about to go off the air, I'm going, okay, we got about less than 4 minutes left. I'm saying to myself, okay, you know what? This sucks. We are about to go off the air, and it looks like for all that hot talk that the Hurt Business was given to Adam Pearce, it looks like Hurt Business isn't even going to crash the scene here. I'm like, come on. Where's the continuity here? We got to keep up with the consistency here. But sure enough, cue up the music of the Hurt Business, which, by the way, they got some new music. I like it. It's badass. They kind of remind me of a black version of Evolution. And I ain't got no problem with that whatsoever. I'm liking these guys, but I was waiting for a swerve there, man. I was waiting to see Retribution and the Hurt Business meet halfway and just go, what's up, dog? And I was ready for them to embrace and everything. And I was just ready to pull a Jim Ross. Damn you, you son of a bitch. Damn you. I was ready to go in that direction, but it didn't happen. Both of these stables, they actually brawled. And you're like, whoa, shit. Didn't like the ending, though. I didn't like seeing Keith Lee and Drew McIntyre do dives out of the ring, crashing into everybody, and it pretty much just goes off like that. I didn't particularly care for that. That was a bit weak sauce, I personally felt. Now comes the bigger question. We got Drew McIntyre that's going to be defending this title in a couple of weeks against Orton, but, you know, I can't help but think about Survivor Series, as that's close, very, very close. And I can't help but wonder, so what are we ultimately going to be doing here? Are we ultimately going to be seeing members of Retribution, maybe at Survivor Series, team up and they take on the team of Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, Apollo Crews, Lashley? You know, are we going to see some type of an epic, you know, 12-man tag team elimination joint as Survivor Series. Like, I can't help but wonder, what's going on here. Because, I mean, if you're just kind of thinking somewhat long term, this thing with Retribution has been going on for just a couple of months now. Feels like it's been going on for at least 2 months. I'd be shocked if it was 3, but definitely at least 2 months. So, is that where we're maybe going to be going? What role, if any role, is Retribution going to have going in the Clash of Champions? Assuming that Drew McIntyre makes it to Clash of Champions and he defends that title against Randy Orton, is Retribution going to make their presence felt right there? Are we going to see a scenario where differences are going to have to be put to the side? Heels are going to have to work with the baby faces with the common goal of trying to eradicate Retribution? What if one of those names that I just mentioned is a mole and has been part of Retribution for quite some time, and they're basically double dipping, going back to the enemy, reporting XYZ? What if we're going to see some type of fucked up scenario come about leading up to Survivor Series, kind of like Bash at the Beach, if you will? You kind of have to have that thought in the back of your mind when you're thinking about that. But some nice groundwork that WWE did with regards to the Hurt Business, Retribution tonight. Some new freshness that's there. So I gotta give them mad props on that. Nice complimentary I'm doing right there for Raw so far. Now, sadly, there were some other areas that was a bit rough. By the way, you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Make sure you show the ultimate support. Hit the likes, man. Helps out tremendously. Lets other YouTube members in the community. Hey, this is recommended. Helps out as far as the recommendations go. That is, if you're checking it out on YouTube. If you're checking it out elsewhere, just as long as you're hitting like, hearts, you're subscribing, following, and all that, that's how you can show the ultimate support. But one thing that kind of made me cringe a little bit tonight, Mickie James taking on Asuka. Look, I'll be honest, and I say this with weight, so take this for what it's worth. I have watched the career of Mickie James since she was dealing with stinky, rinky-dinky bars, and she was wrestling there. So Alexis Lurie, Women's Extreme Wrestling. So that's how far back. God bless you if you remember that promotion. That's how far back I go with her and her sister when they were both wrestling at the same time. I've seen a lot of matches from Alexis Lurie, Mickie James. And I gotta tell you, what she did tonight against Asuka, it was one of the worst matches I've seen in Mickie James' career. And it pains me to say that. But it was very, very bad. It was very sloppy. A lot of that sloppiness came from the side of Mickie James, in all honesty, because when you're looking at Asuka's doing all that's expected of her, like always. She's going in there and she is just hitting it out of the fucking park, as always. She's doing everything that's expected of her to do. And I had high expectations for this. And the main reason why I had such high expectations for this, before somebody, see, this is how you can catch people. You're going to have some people that's, but that was their first time taking each other on. You got to, they got to work out the kinks a little bit. This was their first time taking each other on. So, cut them some slack. That's how you catch people in a lie. That's how you know who's really paying attention to the product. These people that say they're big, diehard fans of this person, this is how you catch people in a lie. Because not for nothing, but Mickie James and Asuka, they did face off before. They faced off at NXT TakeOver Canada, going back to 2016, and it was for the NXT Women's Championship. And that was a fucking fantastic match. And so forgive me if when I hear a couple of weeks ago and see that Mickie James in storyline is trying to jockey herself in a position to take on Asuka for the Raw Women's title, forgive me and everybody else that's having shades of NXT TakeOver Toronto and freaking Mickie James, Asuka. We're going, oh man, well, that was a damn good match. Now look, we're talking about free TV here. I'll be the first to tell you, hey, for free TV, I'm not expecting a pay-per-view 5-star quality type of a match, but if I can walk away and say, hey, that was at least a 4 out of 5-star match, that was a damn good match. Even if you just want to put the rating system to the side and just say, that was a damn good match. Just that I can at least say that, hey, I'm good. But this was a very poor effort by Mickie James, I would have to say. You know, I don't want to be in the excuse business for people. I don't. Because much like how I look at these performers, same way I look at athletes and everybody else. Okay, if you can lace up the boots and you can put on the attire and all that, you're going out there and, okay, all right. Well, I got to hold you to it. You're going out there to entertain. Okay, all right. Let's see what you do. So I don't want to be in the excuse business. But I can't help but wonder if repetition. Obviously, Mickie James still has a bit of ring rust. That's what I saw tonight. That is what I saw tonight. The ending to this match, by the way, I'm still trying to understand what the hell was going on with that. That ending, this is 2 weeks now. I don't care what anybody says to me. This is 2 Monday Night Raws now, where we have seen some serious sloppiness with the finish to these matches. Fun trivia for you if you remember what last week's problem was and what I had said. Fun trivia, see who's paying attention. But, you know, you go into the closing moments of this matchup, and Asuka, I'm trying to remember, I think Mickie James had got Asuka in a roll-up, near fall, kick out. You know, they're continuing to go at it. And then Asuka, I remember something where Asuka just kind of dropped to her back while grabbing on the arm of Mickie James, and she was going for a roll-up armbar submission hold. And you're going, oh, this might be it. And then Mickie James was able to somehow shift her weight so that she was on top of Asuka. And at this point, you're kind of looking at the shoulders and you're saying, okay, well, it kind of appears that Asuka's shoulders both are pinned to the mat. Why isn't the ref in storyline sliding under there trying to count the 1, 2, 3? Of course, Asuka kicks out, but, you know, still, why isn't he sliding in there? And it was weird because as Mickie James is now on top, you see her briefly. I rewinded it maybe 3 times. You see her move her her right hand. You see her move her right hand, and she does it in a tapping of the canvas type of way where she's trying to readjust herself. You know, it was just a quick little, okay, let me put my hand right here real quick because I'm trying to, and the ref just, and I don't know what the hell was going on there. I would love to hear a lot more about what was going on in that match. I actually rewinded the match. I'm thinking, okay, did she take a concussion? Did somebody take a concussion in this match I wasn't aware of? What the hell was going on here? You know, did somebody bend a certain way that kind of had them knock out for a hot second, 4 seconds, 10 seconds? What the hell was going on there? Even Mickie kind of looked a little bit, what the fuck? And I wish I could have heard exactly what the referee was saying there, but I'll tell you what was even more just what the fuck. Seeing Zelina Vega come out immediately and basically, okay, this is about Zelina Vega now wanting her chance to stand out, wanting her chance in storyline to become the new Raw Women's Champion. I mean, that was just so tasteless, man. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. What seemed to me as though there was some controversy there and definitely pretty sloppy of a finish there. You know, we at least needed to kind of continue to build upon that. But now we're just going to put Mickie James to the side here and we're going to go right to Zelina Vega. Look, no disrespect to Zelina Vega. Love Zelina Vega. Love everything that, you know, she's been doing and everything. And honestly, you know, not for nothing, she's a pretty damn good wrestler in her own right. I'm really surprised that a lot sooner she hasn't been in singles action. You know, but that whole sequence there, it was really, I gotta tell you, in all honesty, it was really hard for me to get into the whole Zelina Vega Asuka program. Really hard for me to get into that because of everything that had happened leading up to when Zelina came out to confront Asuka. I'm sure they'll have a good program, but yeah, that was just, yeah. I can't wait to hear what Mickie James has to say about that match tonight. I can't wait, because usually she's pretty open. She's pretty damn candid about what's going on with her in WWE and everything. So I'm most curious what she has to say. Other than that, looking at some other key points from Monday's Raw, just see if there's anything else in addition we can talk about tonight. There was that steel cage match that went down between Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio. Good match. Seth Rollins coming out on top. I know that kind of rubs some people the wrong way as far as, man, you know, what the hell? We keep seeing Dominic get his ass whooped by Seth Rollins. You know, what the fuck here? Well, it depends on how exactly you're going about this whole story so far. Because not for nothing, Dominic Mysterio, or the Mysterio family, they do have at least one victory. Even though it was Murphy that ate the pin, they do have one over Murphy and Rollins, if you want to just group everything together. I hear what you guys are saying, but see, that falls into the whole instant gratification thing once again. So I ask you, okay, let's just say next week on Raw, Dominic takes on Seth Rollins. He gets a W. Okay, then what? What are we doing after that? You understand what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's not as simple as, well, let's just give him a win already. And now, if you were to say to me, well, Lee, Dominic Mysterio needs to get a W hook or by crook. He needs to get a W over Rollins just so it can kind of start balancing itself out a little bit. But, yeah, you know, yeah, let them continue their feud, but let Dominic get one there. Okay, well, if you're saying that, then, okay, yes, I'm with you. But it's pretty obvious that Rollins, Mysterio, WWE, it's pretty obvious that they feel that they're sitting on something that's hot right now. It's obvious they feel that they're sitting on something that's pretty popular right now with the fans, and they want to try to milk this for all it's worth. And I thought it was rather interesting that Murphy, who was told stay backstage, got bitch slapped a couple of times, yeah, he still came out during this joint. He still came out. I'm sorry, but me, grown ass man, you gonna smack me around a couple of times? Oh, nah, man, nah. We gonna have to throw down. We gonna have to throw down. You know, you pulling my man card right there. I ain't gonna have you punk me around like that. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't give a fuck if I get my ass beat. You ain't gonna be punking me around like that. So I don't know how, and that's the new layer of storytelling that WWE needs to explore more, which is, what is it that Rollins has over Murphy? Because if you, me, even our women are saying to themselves, nah, man, you ain't gonna punk me like that. If that was me, okay, kind of like, take a page from AEW. If you ever wondered for many weeks, why is Wardlow still with MJF? What the fuck? Well, now we know. Now we know. If you didn't watch last week's AEW, I won't spoil it for you guys. You still got a little bit of time if you have it on your DVR to catch up. But now we know exactly why Wardlow hasn't just said, fuck this dude already. Now we know. Okay, well, WWE, you got to take a page from AEW. And now you have to really do a better job in explaining why is Murphy continuing to be aligned there with Rollins. Does he have something over him? Is he that blind of a follower? You know, what's going on right here? The other new layer that you have added into this whole mix, though, I love the fact that, you know, after the match was over and everything, you know, Rollins just, real quick, he just went belligerent on Murphy, was beating the shit out of him and everything, and then walks up to Mama Mysterio and daughter Mysterio and says to Mama Mysterio, I think he said something along the lines of basically, hey, she came out well. You know, she looks pretty good or some shit like that. And he just walked away. And you see Aaliyah Mysterio. Is it Aaliyah or Alana Mysterio? Yeah, daughter Mysterio. Let's just call it daughter Mysterio. You see daughter Mysterio, she actually tries to go over to Murphy. She puts her hand over his back, checking up on him and everything, and then goes inside the ring to check up on Dominic. You go, oh, nice little, okay, showing a little bit of compassion there for the enemy, a little bit of sympathy. Okay, where are we going with this? There's so many directions we can go with this. For Murphy, and I hate to use this analogy, but think about it. Think about it. I'm kind of reminded of one of my favorite Chris Cornell songs from Temple of a Dog, and there's a great live rendition of it on his Soundbook album. Check it out, from 2011. Great shit. Call Me a Dog. And, you know, you're looking at Murphy, and Murphy is just this dog that has been starved, that's been neglected, that has been beaten for no apparent reason. And this dog is scared. It's very intimidated. You know, you feel where I'm coming from? Every time that owner gets near it, I mean, it's shaking. But man, somebody else comes along and they're sweet and they're oh so kind. And they pet it, they give it love, they give it food, they nurture it. What do you think is going to happen with that dog? If that dog is able to, that dog is going to defect over. Yeah, this person's treating me bad. I'm going to go over here. Right? So that's kind of what we got there with Murphy tonight. If you really kind of stop and think about it, we got the beginning seeds that was planted there. And think about the bigger picture, the long haul picture, which is eventually that whatever that grip is that Murphy has, or correction, that Rollins has over Murphy, daughter Mysterio was going to be breaking that. There's a reason why we got Mama Mysterio and daughter Mysterio in there, and we're now really starting to see exactly what roles they're going to be playing in the weeks to come. Now, I just can't help but wonder, are we eventually going to see Murphy and daughter Mysterio become a love idol? Are we going to see them eventually become a pair? Because if we're going to eventually see them become a pair, I can just imagine just on TV how that would play out. With daughter Mysterio telling Murphy, you know, you're better than this. You're bigger than this. You don't need to fucking continue to be. You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, I don't know. I don't know. And Fry has said in the chat here, man, WWE has wasted so much talent. I'm glad AEW is picking up that talent. Well, look, I know I said we're going to be previewing AEW for this coming Wednesday a little bit and everything. But, you know, look, I'm willing to give praise to WWE where praise needs to be given. I will also give constructive criticism where that criticism needs to be given. And if you guys that have been with me for the past hour and 6 minutes, I think you guys can honestly say to yourselves, you know what? May not always agree with some of the things Lee says, but He was very complimentary of some of the things that played out on Raw tonight. And when giving constructive criticism on some of the things he did not like tonight, he stated with reasons why he felt that way. He made good, compelling arguments. As long as you're able to walk away with that, you know, that's all I ask, is that you really open your mind, your ears, and versus, well, WWE sucks. AEW rocks. Like, when you come at me with that mentality, I'm just not going to listen to you, and I'm just going to quietly just, you know, kick it. Because then it's like, okay, well, if WWE sucks and AEW rocks, then why are you checking out a live stream that you see is titled talking about WWE stuff? Like, other than trolling, like, that's the only thing I can think of, like, quite honestly. Some of the other stuff for tonight there. Let's see. Anything else I want to dive into tonight here? Oh, yeah. Raw Underground. I almost forgot about that. Raw Underground. Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman appeared at Raw Underground. He actually looked pretty damn good. Raw Underground seemed to fit him extremely well. That was a move I didn't see coming. I did not see, since they've been doing Raw Underground, I've never once, and I think many of you fans out there, I think y'all could be honest with yourselves, because I sure as hell didn't see it on social media. You know who'd be good for Raw Underground? Braun Strowman. I didn't see that chatter. So the fact that that was a nice, pleasant surprise that we got this week, and he fits it perfectly. He fits it like a fucking glove. Fits it like a fucking glove. Now, I had a few people that were a little bit rattled when I had said, and I'm paraphrasing here, I gotta give Mish credit. I saw a tweet that Mish put out, and he was talking about Raw Underground. And I followed up. I said, could you imagine if Brock Lesnar was a part of Raw Underground? Just saying. That'd be pretty badass. And all of a sudden, I had people that were jumping on me, acting like I was mentioning a cancer word or something. It's like, that's why I said if. I said if. You know, we had some people that felt Brock Lesnar was just gonna fuck it all up, and that was gonna be the end of Raw Underground as we know it. Not so. Not so. Brock is getting up there in age. Okay, so we can have Braun Strowman, we can have all these other people just randomly show up when they want to fight. You know, we got Braun Strowman, hey, my date dumped me, and I tried to beat off in my truck, and that didn't satisfy me, so I want to whoop somebody's ass. I mean, that's basically how we got these people showing up in Raw Underground. All right, they're just randomly, you know, hey, I was having a slice of pizza, and what's up? I want to fight. Okay, so if that's how we're going to be essentially doing Raw Underground, it creates a, that's what I need for you guys to really, don't be so quick on shitting something when you can really just kind of, you know what I kind of look at Raw Underground as? This is a perfect analogy. I look at Raw's Underground as Gilligan's Island. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you watched any episode of Gilligan's Island, you knew that for the duration of that series, the cast of Gilligan's Island, those characters, they would come across other people that just so happened to be stranded on the island as well, because it was a pretty big island and there was just no telling who'd you run into on there. And normally you would see, you know, guest one-shots from people. You're like, oh, wow, this person's on here and all of that. You would never see them again, of course, but you get the point that I'm making. That's how I look at Raw Underground to a certain extent. Now, if you want to build around certain individuals in Raw Underground, I'm all down for that. You know, one of the main reasons why I had said Brock Lesnar would be perfect for Raw Underground, do I really need to elaborate further? I mean, Brock Lesnar, the whole MMA career and all of that. I mean, I don't need to say any more, do I? So, I mean, it would just fit so perfectly. Now, I'm also that same guy that knows, just like all of you guys, that the way things are looking right now with Brock Lesnar, WWE, which we did talk about, if not last week, the week before, they're pretty much chilling right now. WWE's not exactly in a haste to offer Lesnar a new deal. They were going to go somewhere before the pandemic, but once the pandemic hit, it just pretty much like trying to ask for a raise right now from your employer. The odds of that happening right now, you're probably not going to get that raise. You probably might want to wait another quarter before asking for a raise. So, but it's just wishful thinking. That's all it is. It's just wishful thinking. People, take it easy. Take it easy. I love the fact that there are those of you that's enjoying Raw Underground. I mean, I'm kind of coming around to it, but I still pose that question I've been posing the past couple of weeks. What is this carrot dangling over the head? What is that incentive for these people that are going into Raw Underground? I'm going to continue to beat that horse over the head until ultimately there is the payoff. Which brings me to this point. I didn't see anybody. I've never seen anybody mention this on social media before. My friends in the podcasting world, I've not heard this. So here's a very interesting question I posed to my friends in the podcasting world, my familia in the podcasting world, and listeners of the show as well. Here's a great question that I posed to you. What if I were to tell you that this whole Raw Underground is nothing more than a mirage? What if I were to tell you that Raw Underground is nothing more than a front for training, scouting, and the recruitment of potential members for Retribution? You don't have to say anything right now. Just something to marinate on and make you go, Just have that in the back of your mind there. Retribution is always talking about how they have the numbers. Okay, you got 5? Okay, well, we got 5. Well, we got 6. Okay, well, we got 6 too. All right, well, we're capped out. We got 8. Well, that's funny because we can double what we got right now. Just marinate on that. Have that in the back of your mind. Other than that, nothing else I really want to talk about from Raw for this week. I think we pretty much hit all the main points. KO taking on Aleister Black. Man, that one was only about 3 minutes. I mean, you couldn't really sink your teeth into that matchup, sadly. You really couldn't. Really not much there. KO picking up the win. I mean, I've seen better. I've seen better. It wasn't exactly a really good match. Riot Squad picking up a W over Lana and Natty. I'm not even going to rate that. I mean, I don't even think that was 60 seconds. That was what it was, man. Yeah, we're pretty much done with Raw. Hey, want to take this time out. Want to give a shout out to some of our... Oh, before we even do that, let's see what you guys are saying about Raw. Again, we got the poll up. Twitter at the RCWR Show. You can cast your vote that way. If you don't have Twitter, go cast your vote on youtube.com/the RCWR Show. Click on over to the Communities tab. Let me know what you had thought about Raw for this week. Looking at Twitter here, right now I'm seeing 37% of you are giving this week's Raw a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 63% of you are giving it a thumbs up. Again, 37% giving this week's Raw a thumbs down, 63% giving it a thumbs up. All right, let's go over to that Communities tab, and let's see what you guys have to say over there. And survey says Communities tab at YouTube. Still very early votes that's coming in. But right now I'm seeing 100% votes that's kicking in, giving it a thumbs down. So pick your platform. You don't have to double dip. Just pick the platform. You either go on Twitter and vote, or you can go on YouTube and vote. Let your voices be heard that way. All right, now we can give a shout out to some of our Patreon members. Remember, kind folks, a little bit of echo there. Remember, kind folks, patreon.com patreon.com/RCWR show. That's where you want to be for bonus audio, video content. Sunday night, was it Saturday night? It was either Saturday night going into Sunday, or maybe it was Sunday morning. I had dropped a new episode of Impact Showdown, reviewing last week's Impact Wrestling, as we're getting ready to have a new episode drop this Tuesday on Access TV. I'm going to be doing some more Patreon content this week for our Patreon familia, but get access to exclusive shows, exclusive content you won't be able to find anywhere else. Patreon.com/RCWR show. Shout out to Patreon members RAW. I thought it was Rizzo, because I thought he was trying to say Rizzo, but it's RAW, ROL, RAW. Shout out to RAW, one of our newest Patreon members. Shout out to Gino. Shout out to Justin Ripstock. Gotta check out on Justin, see how he's been. Been so sidetracked with stuff over here at my end. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Shout out to John Davis. Shout out to my man Tony Bean Gaming. You want the very latest in tips, tricks, news, walkthroughs, reviews, guides for Marvel Strike Force, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, Marvel Square Enix Avengers game. Tony Bean Gaming, he's got your hookup, so show him some love. He's on YouTube and he's got a Patreon paywall as well. Support those guys. I'm sure they would, Tony Bean, that is, support him. I'm sure he would definitely appreciate the love. All right, so let's get into some more stuff, man. Let's get into some more stuff. So let's do this. We're going to switch it up. We'll talk a little wrestling news, but we're also going to talk a little bit of non-wrestling news. You know, not really too much wrestling news has come about since last we were on the air. You know, it's been kind of relatively quiet and everything, which, hey, look, no bad news. That's a good thing, right? As far as the wrestling world goes. But, you know, I will say this. There's a couple of more people that we had lost in the wrestling community over the past several days. And it sucks. It sucks. First off, I want to definitely offer thoughts, prayers, condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Stevie Puppet Lee, who passed away. This was a member of the wrestling community. Y'all may not remember him, but if you know your TNA very well, he appeared as Puppet the Psycho Dwarf in TNA. He passed away last Wednesday at his home. His real name, Steve Lee Richardson. And this was around 2002 that he was playing that Puppet Dwarf in TNA. It was a role he also portrayed in Half Pint Brawlers in 2010. He also appeared on Jackass 3D. He also, you may remember him in a few episodes of American Horror Stories. So, you know, he got around. He definitely got around. He passed away, you know, in his home, and, you know, it's kind of a sad way to, you know, to go out. Hopefully he was surrounded by friends, family. As far as what's going on with, you know, how did he pass, drug related, what the hell was going on, you know, nothing. There's no other information right now. There is a GoFundMe that has been set up for him by his friends and family to take care of funeral costs. If you guys want to contribute, and they weren't even asking for that much as far as the GoFundMe goes. They were only asking for $5,000. And as it stands tonight, they've successfully raised that money. They've raised $5,203. Now, I say that, and some of you guys may say, you know what? I'm good. There's no reason for me to donate. You know, I'm good. Hey, look, a lot of people are not able to give right now because there are a lot of people that's still affected by the pandemic. And I'm right there with you guys. I totally understand. So, as I always tell you guys, when it comes to GoFundMe pages and Kickstarters and all of that, if you're not financially able to give, do the next best thing, especially if you have social media, and that's to just share the link. That's all you got to do. Just share the link with others, and I'm sure they'll greatly appreciate that. By the way, I see what you guys are saying in the chat, And I find it weird that the stuff that's being said hasn't popped up everywhere else. So it's really weird. I'm not sure. Let me try something here. Bear with me a second here. Because that's really weird. Let's see here. Because I don't want you guys thinking, y'all are being ignored. Because you're not being ignored. I'm interacting with what you guys are saying. That could be an issue. Okay, give me 1 second here, guys. Let me just log this in here. And this should actually take care of the problem. See, and to my credit, I had set the stream up and everything right before I went live. And I made sure that the chat was ready to go. And I did the test and everything. That's why you see my little test joint in there that says it's showtime. That says it's showtime. And for some reason, I can see what you guys are saying in another. Yeah, that's it. I can see what you guys are saying in another third-party joint I'm using, but for some reason, it's not popping up elsewhere. So that's really fucking weird. Let's see here. And I'll just say this. I'll just say hello. We'll see if that works. And if somebody wants to type up something real quick, go ahead. You could do that. And in the meantime, let's see here. Yeah, it's weird. I just said hello. And for some reason, you guys aren't seeing it. So I don't know what's going on there. That's a weird bug that's going on. A very weird bug. Okay, so now the hello thing popped up. Okay, so that's good. All right, so we'll see what happens there. I'll leave that right where it is. But yeah, he passed away. There was somebody else that passed away in the wrestling world. This one really had took me by surprise. By the way, for those of you that maybe want to still kind of contribute to that GoFundMe I was mentioning earlier, or you want to just spread it around, I have the link for you guys. I'm going to put it in right now. And you guys should be able to read that on your screen. Go check that out. And then we had another, I would say a legend. That had passed away as well in the wrestling business. Actually, you know what? Before I get to that passing, I've yet to comment on this passing. I want to offer my thoughts, prayers, and condolences to the passing of Casey Michael. Casey Michael was responsible for finding the Squared Circle Sirens site. And following his death, that site was actually shut down. And this was something that kind of, for me, it went under the radar a little bit. But yeah, Casey Michael, he passed away. I think it was, if it wasn't last week, it was the week before. He passed away on September 2nd at the age of 26 after his second liver bowel transplant. Fucking rough. There was a GoFundMe that was set up for him so that his family could help pay for funeral costs and medical bills. That's another one. If you guys have not participated in that one, same thing. You guys are more than welcome to share that link with friends, family. I'm sure they would greatly appreciate that. Once in a while, I would check out the site and everything, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. It wasn't a case where, I was a big fan or anything like that. It was just something that, once in a blue moon, I would check out and, but I mean, just to hear that somebody passed away at the age of 26, I mean, to each its own, but to you older cats out there, can you remember what you were doing when you were in your early to mid 20s, almost going into your late 20s? I mean, when I was 26 years old, I was still working out the kinks in my first marriage. I was still trying to figure out what the hell my career path was going to be. I was still trying to become a man. Even though I might have had the age, I was still trying to become a man. Ultimately become the man that I am today. So yeah, 26, just thinking about starting a family, trying to do my best to settle down and everything. Just 26, way too young, way too fucking young to be passing at such a young age. And this was somebody that was well liked, very well liked. This was somebody that was very respected. So, that sucks. That really fucking sucks. There's another passing though that kicked in right before the weekend. Nashville's Barry Scott, great voiceover artist. If you watched the old school shit from TNA Wrestling, even right on up until, recently, he was always doing stuff. I used to always think when I would hear his voice, I used to always think it was Keith David for the longest time, until I actually did some research and I was like, oh shit, it's not Keith David. It's fucking Barry Scott. Oh, okay, cool. But he sounded so much like Keith David. This is TNA, where the stars align. Great fucking voiceover actor. Nashville's own, though. Great voiceover artist for TNA Wrestling, NBA. I've watched many NBA playoffs, and I know his voice when I hear it. Would always get it mixed up with Keith David, but Barry Scott, his death was announced and pretty much confirmed by Impact Wrestling on their social media account Thursday, and it was confirmed by loved ones. And he was so much more than a voiceover artist. And I really want to make sure I drive that point home, because although I find it touching and really kick-ass that people are giving him his props and everything, he was so much more than a voiceover artist. This was a man that was in his own respected right an accomplished actor. He was involved in one of my favorite TV shows. I've brought it up once in the blue moon. I really bring it up a lot on the Patreon shows that I do with the missus. I'll Fly Away, which was nominated for many awards. I was pretty heartbroken when that series got canceled, but he was on there. He appeared on In the Heat of the Night, the TV series with Carol O'Connor and Howard Rollins. Another great fucking show right there. But on top of being an accomplished actor, he was also a very good writer, producer, director. He also was the founder and producing artistic director for the American Negro Playwright Theater at Tennessee State University out in Nashville. So this was a man that was really giving back to the community, really helping out and expanding our Black culture, helping us and newer generations of folks, understand Black culture and everything. I recall he even did some narrations. I think he narrated something involving Martin Luther King Jr. It escapes me right now what exactly. I don't know if it was maybe an autobiography or what, but there was something that he did recently on him. Scott's father, Emmett Scott, has served as a deacon in Carr's congregation at Kane Avenue Baptist Church on 12th Avenue South. His mother, the late Dorothy Scott, served as a Sunday school teacher there. So, I mean, this was a man that definitely tried to do his best to pay it forward. That's a big one, man. That's a big one that we lost. He was only 53, by the way. 53 years of age, and he passed away. But an impressive resume. I mean, this guy was getting around. He was doing stuff for the Discovery's channel. He was doing stuff for McDonald's, Burger King, you name it. He had that golden voice, man. You just knew that voice when you heard it. He worked for all the major networks. I even recall, I've got to really do some digging, but I can even recall him doing some stuff for WWE. It would be very rare because when it came to the wrestling, he was mainly doing stuff for TNA, but there was a handful of occasions that he actually did some content for WWE. And now that I've said that, I've really got to do some digging around and figure out exactly what that content was that he did. But some sad passings there. Some sad passes. I'll try to lift you all spirits up just a little bit here. We can kind of switch it up just a little tiny bit. Like I said, not really too much wrestling headline-wise has gone on since last we were on the air. I do want to offer my comments on this, which is Gerald Brisco. Gerald Brisco being released by the WWE. Kind of a shocking move right there. A very shocking move right there. I mean, the Briscoes, they had minority interests in Georgia Championship Wrestling in the early mid-80s. And when they saw that, you know what, given the direction that's going on with the company, what's going on monetary-wise, maybe it would just be better if we just sold this off and reap in the rewards. And here comes a young Vince McMahon laying out his blueprint of what he sees happening with professional wrestling as a whole, and how he could see the WWE, back then F at the time, being the center of it all and really helping usher in that new era of professional wrestling. The Briscoes, they managed to convince the shareholder for Georgia Championship Wrestling, Paul Jones, if that name is correct. They were able to convince Paul Jones, hey, look, share us your shares so we can go ahead and do business with McMahon. And honestly, if it wasn't for the Briscoes being involved in that critical moment in what Vince McMahon's ultimate vision was, without the Briscoes, WWE may possibly not be what it is today. It's possible. Maybe it would have taken a bit longer for Vince McMahon. Maybe things would have still played out the way it ultimately came to be here in the present. But it definitely would have had a profound impact if the Briscoes did not. So Briscoes had essentially a job for life there with WWE because of the contributions that they made in helping Vince McMahon be in that position where he was able to do what he was able to do and dominate in other territories and ultimately absorbing them in the process. Gerald Brisco was somebody that for many decades worked in WWE and largely handled their scouting. He handled their scouting. And, I really got to stress that because I don't want you guys thinking it's going to be like an old school memory type of laying trip in talking about Gerald Brisco. But the one thing, if there's one thing that you should really walk away with and care as far as Gerald Brisco goes, a lot of the talents, Shelton Benjamin, Brock Lesnar, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. All this band would do was scout for new talent. And he brought in some heavy hitting names for WWE over the decades. So for this man to be released by WWE, almost 75 years old. Now, I like the fact that Vince McMahon called him and gave him the news personally. I mean, yeah, you should. Come on. The man's been working for you for damn near 5 decades. That's the least thing you can do is pick up a fucking phone and tell somebody straight up, hey, this is what's going on. But, gee, I don't know. We couldn't figure out some type of a way to, okay, look, no, the holidays are coming up. It's right around the corner, literally. Telling you straight up, your position, we just don't need you in this position anymore. We're doing all these cuts and setbacks and everything. And, look, we're just going to be going in a different direction, but we want to let you know we're going to take care of you during this quarter. We know the holidays are coming up. You ain't got nothing to worry about. You are going to be financially taken care of until after the first of the new year. Create a nice little severance package, nice little send-off package or whatever, and, give a nice little swan song for the guy. Yeah, it just really came off dickish to me. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me so much of one of my former bosses that I used to work with at the old market research company I was with. And nice, sweet guy. Nice, sweet guy. Before he worked there, he spent at least 20-something years as an accountant. And so I used to nickname him Numbers because you could just throw whatever numbers at him and just on the spot. I mean, this guy was like a fucking genius. He just knew how to crunch numbers real fucking good. He was extremely good at it. But Numbers was what I would nickname him. Anyway, this guy, he must have worked at least 25 years at the market research company. And it was starting to get really fucked up how they were doing him, because the vice president of the company and upper management, they started giving priorities to everybody else as far as, okay, when work was starting to get a little bit slow, okay, well, who can we bring in? Who do we really not need? And it was kind of fucked up how they did him, because their whole thing was, he's an old man. He'll be okay. Just let him kick back at home with his wife. He'll be okay. And I remember there was one period where he did not work for 3 months. I bullshit you not. There was one period where they did not need him for 3 months. And if you want to make somebody feel unimportant, if you want to make somebody feel as though they're not needed, boy, that's a sure of a hell way to do it. Is have somebody at home for 3 months. But then to have the audacity to pick up the phone or send an email, hey, need you to work, and you think they're going to be able to just stop and drop everything. Now, he came back. He was a little bit reluctant, but he came back. He really didn't need the money. It was just an opportunity for him to get out of the house, still feel as though he was providing some type of usefulness to the community. Not to mention the company that we were at, it was really great. Great upper management staff for the most part, great staff under the management. But then they pulled that shit again. When he came back after that 3-month hiatus, I think he was probably back for about maybe like maybe a month and a half. And then work started to get slow again. And once again, they pretty much put him on that don't call us, we'll call you list. And I remember another 3 months went by. And they tried to reach out to him, see if they could have him come back. And he said, nah, you know what? I'll think about it. But at this point, I'm actually good. I actually like being home more, spending the quality time with my wife, doing some stuff around the house I've always meant to do. Nah, I'm actually good. I'll think about it, but I don't think I'm coming back. And so, they gave him like a month to think about it, basically. And it's like, nah, I'm still thinking about it, but I'm not really sure. So about 6 months out, and he pretty much, I think he had his mind made up all along, but he decided, no, you know what, I'm good. I'm just not coming back. And I don't blame him for not coming back because of the way that he was ultimately treated. If you're gonna phase somebody out ultimately, then maybe what you should do is, okay, look, we're gonna have you come back. This is how long we would like for you to be back. And in the process of all of that, this is what we're going to do. We're definitely going to give you a nice, good send-off, blah this, blah that. And what was so really fucked up about this, very much similar to Gerald Brisco. I remember when the Christmas holiday party came. I never go to these damn things. But this particular one, I said, okay, well, is he going to be there? Because, if he's going to be there, and it's essentially my way of properly saying goodbye to him because I enjoyed working with him. It was a great honor. If he's going to be there, then I'll definitely show up, because I was the talk among the office every single Christmas holiday when it came to our Christmas parties. I never went. I never went till the very end. I never went. And the question was always, what's it going to take for you? One year it was, well, what's it going to take for you to come to one of these things? And the one time I was interested in going, I said, well, is Numbers going to be there? Because if Numbers is not going to be there, then forget about it. They did not, upper management that is, they did not even have the common decency to reach out to him and say, hey, look, there are still a lot of employees who you supervised, including Lee, that want to see you one last time and wish you a proper send-off. Any way you can show up to this. He was so hurt by how they did him. It was like, and so I can't help but think about Numbers when I think about how Gerald Brisco was done. It's like, you could have easily just paid him for staying at home. Just give him a nice little package. Like, look, X amount of money. You just came off, WWE that is, you just came off of a very successful quarter because of all the setbacks that you did. You brought in so much money this past quarter from previous years. Yeah, boo-hoo-hoo. Vince McMahon is no longer on the billionaire list. He was short by, I don't know how much, but you had to have the minimum of 2 point whatever billion to be on that billionaires list, and I think he came in at 1.8 billion or whatever. But you still had a very profitable quarter, and you couldn't fucking just, hey, Gerald, we're gonna go in a different direction, but September, October, November, December, January, you and your family are going to be taken care of. Come on. It just goes to show you sometimes loyalty can be for suckers. It can be. It really can be. I don't know what else you call it, but it really can be for suckers, and it's most unfortunate. So aside from that release, there was a couple of other releases that went down as well. Mike IRS Rotunda, he was released from his role. Y'all know him better as Earl and R. Shyster. That was my man back in the day. VK Wall Street. He was a victim of the cutbacks as well. Fucking sucks. There was another one that was cut as well. I think her name was Sarita when she was in TNA. I think it was. Yeah, let me just look at my notes here real quick here. Yeah, Sarah Stock, the former Sarita. Yeah, she also was reportedly released from WWE as well. So, these releases, I mean, we really shouldn't be surprised. And I mean, for some of these people, they're going to be all right. Hopefully they've tucked away their money for a rainy day and everything, but in the case of Gerald Brisco, it's just like, come on, man, have a fucking heart. Like, you say that you're all about being a family company and you're come on. You talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. Like, come on, man. Some bullshit. Some straight up bullshit. Hey, some AEW news for you guys real quick. AEW is offering a new Dynamite 7 season pass for the upcoming Dynamite tapings in Jacksonville. Company made the announcement on Twitter that the pass, which costs pretty good deal, $175, it includes access to 7 events throughout the next several months. And they put it out in a little short statement. It says, join us this fall with the Dynamite 7 season pass for upcoming AEW televised live events in September, October, and November at Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida, beginning with the September 23rd show. 7 events for a total of $175 plus fees. Yeah, if that caught your interest, and you're interested, you can go about getting tickets. Email ticketing@jaguars.com or phone 904-633-2000. It's a pretty damn good deal, especially if you got a choice in exactly where you can sit. You know, if you got your pick as far as some really good best seats, I'm kind of curious how that's going to go, or it's first come, first serve. I'm a little bit curious how that's going to go, but for that amount of money, that's pretty damn good. So take advantage of that. And we already told you guys AEW is going to be back in its time slot for this coming Wednesday, as well as NXT. So that's going to be good. As far as a preview goes for this coming week's Dynamite, let me see what's going on here with Dynamite, because it has been a while since I checked in. With Dynamite here. Let me see what's going on here. Dynamite. Kind of quiet here. I'm not seeing anything here right now. Hang on a second here, guys. What's today? Tuesday? So that would be the 16th. Trying to see what the preview is for Dynamite here. Nah. Not seeing anything. I'm not seeing. I wish I was kidding you guys. I'm not seeing anything as far as a preview for Dynamite. It's kind of weird too, and I wouldn't be surprised if what ultimately had happened was originally it was looking as though we were going to be having some NBA action, and AEW had already decided, okay, well, we're going to go in and we're going to tape a 1 hour special that's going to air after the NBA game. I think it was. Let me think. I think it was after Inside the NBA went off, actually. So I think it was the NBA game, then Inside, then that 1 hour AEW was going to come on. And then Thursday night, you were going to get a 2 hour AEW Dynamite. So as far as what exactly was going to be happening on that 1 hour joint, I'm not going to even fake to you guys. I don't even know. But now that we're told, nah, we're going to be doing a 2 hour block this coming Wednesday. Now I can't help but wonder, okay, so that's good, but what exactly do you have in store for us this coming week? Like, we're just going to have to tune in and find out. Want to send a speedy recovery to Simone Johnson. I'm not sure how many of you guys had heard about this, but apparently she is set for surgery. And first thing I had said to myself when I heard this, I said, well, wait a minute. How young is this woman to be going around and getting this fucking surgery? Because what shocked me the most about this report is that this would be the third time she's getting surgery. And the third time that she's getting knee surgery at that. But it's being reported that she's out in Birmingham, Alabama this week for knee surgery. And that this is going to be her third knee surgery. How old is this woman? She's either 19, 20, or 21. So it's like, what the fuck is going on with her? But look, if this young woman, she really wants it, she really wants to try to break it in the wrestling industry and everything, that's her dad's, I don't know what you call it, but that's her dad kicking in that no quit mentality. The fact that these injuries keep piling up and she keeps going in there. But I'm legit concerned about hearing about these knee surgeries. And if it's true that this is actually the third one that she's getting, I'm really, really concerned about her. And I can't help but wonder, okay, so as far as a wrestling career goes, just how long exactly are you going to be able to hold up in that ring? You know, now before anybody asks, like, I don't know how many of you guys follow her or whatever, but if you all are thinking, damn, well, what's going on with her build wise? Is she as big as Nia Jax or something? No, she is very small. I'm trying to just picture a build. She kind of seems like right now she's in between Charlotte Flair and Amber Moon. Would that be a good comparison as far as where her build is right now? I don't know if that's really a good comparison, but to me, it kind of seems like maybe she's in between those two. I kind of feel as though maybe eventually, as far as her peak goes, where she could ultimately be, build-wise, she kind of seems like ultimately she could be a much leaner, buffier, wider, in the shoulders and upper body and all that, Tamina. She kind of seems like she has those kind of makings right there. But I'm concerned. I'm wondering what's going to be happening with her going forward. Is she going to be in knee braces? I mean, yeah, you're kind of having that one problem with that, assuming it's just that one knee until I hear differently. I would imagine that's automatically, if she hasn't already begun wearing knee braces, she's now going to be doing it. But, you hear something like that and somebody that's not even 23, 24 is having those type of problems. You can't help but go, Jesus. Most people, they would probably, you know what? This isn't for me. I just need to go in a different direction already. It ain't happening. This ain't for me. But if you really want it, how bad do you want it? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Eye of the tiger, right? That's what it's all about sometimes. Eye of the tiger. So, NFL Week 1. Let's talk a little bit about that. Nothing long-winded. Ron Rivera victorious in his Washington debut. It's so weird. I can't even say Redskins, but whatever. But in his Washington debut. And just last month, he revealed that he was diagnosed with cancer and he's been taking the treatments 5 days a week. And I tell you, when I tuned in to see the game, probably some point during the second quarter, I was like, oh, well, yeah, no reason for me to watch this game. Whatever. Same shit. Different year, but it's the same shit. I changed the channel and I went back to watching something else. And, bear with me 1 second here, guys. Boom! That's how we take care of trolls. Sorry. That's how we take care of trolls. Boom! So you guys are like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, we had somebody that was trying to put attention on themselves. It's fucking crazy, man. I like that we got trolls that pop in here sometimes. But what we got to do with that, you just got to rise. Just got to rise above and say, nah, man, that's not what we're about. We ain't about that bullshit. You can take that bullshit elsewhere. All right, but anyway, Maggie, stop. I don't know what's going on. My furry little daughter is barking. Maggie, silence. 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 Anyway, what was I saying before? Between a dog barking and trolling, we're talking about football. And then they make the comeback. Redskins make the fucking comeback. I'm going, holy shit. What the hell happened here? Give me 1 second here, guys. Hang on a second. I'm so sorry, guys. Hang on 1 second. Hey, dipshit. If all you're going to do is fucking troll, you could take that shit elsewhere. We're not interested in having that shit here. We're doing this show for people that want to kick back, relax, have a good time. Not about that shit. Seriously. 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 Take that elsewhere. Not interested. Take it elsewhere. And as a matter of fact, take it elsewhere. See here. Don't worry, I'll be editing all of this shit out later. And see, this is why some of you guys wonder why we don't do nice stuff for you guys when it comes to chat lines and all that other stuff. This is why. This is why. Because we have trolls that come in and they ruin it for everybody. So give me 1 second here. And you should shut the fuck up sometimes. You creepy fucking bastard. Let's see here. Ah, that's how we block them. There we go. Yay! We blocked them. I was like, wait a minute. I just blocked them in one avenue. Like, why the hell XYZ? That's how we do it. You did see it, right? And now it's gone. That's how we take care of them. So anyway, before my train of thought was really interrupted, I do apologize to you guys. I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, I'm all about the laughs. I'm all about the funny ha-ha and all that other stupid shit as well. But there's a time and place to be serious. And, I never did understand. I'll never, no matter how old I get, I'm knocking on wood. I got the big 4-0 coming up in December. And even when I began doing this whole thing almost 10 years ago, we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary next year. And big things are planned. I plan on seeing if we can have a nice, cool-ass big get-together with everybody. And we're probably going to have a live RCWR show at a venue or whatever. A little small venue, nothing major or anything like that. I'm picturing something where like maybe 25 to like maybe 40 people could show up or whatever. Something like that. But that's next year. But even when I began doing podcasting and doing the whole webcast shows and all that, I never did understand, people that troll. I never did. I've had friends that explain it to me. I've had my girl explain it to me. And it's like, I just don't understand. It's like, you got all that time in the world. You can go get laid. You can go do something you got some people that just get off causing disruptions or whatever. It's weird. I'll never understand it. I'll never fucking understand it. But watching Ron Rivera ultimately become victorious in his Washington debut, I gotta tell you something. You know what it reminded me of? I bullshit you not. And now that I'm gonna put this out there, a lot of you guys are gonna say, Lee, that's fucking eerie. That's very creepy. And I hope you're not foreshadowing something. I can imagine you all are going to be saying all of those things. It reminded me of the late Vince Lombardi's one and only season with the Washington Redskins. I'm going to use Redskins in this case. I don't know how far back some of you all go, because I know with regards to our age demos for our listeners, you all are between the ages of 18 to 50, 55-ish. So whether you remember that time period or you just happen to be a football mega fucking fan or whatever, you go back to the season Vince Lombardi coached the Redskins, which was 1969. And remember, he was unfortunately battling cancer. If you don't know anything about that lost year of Vince Lombardi with Washington, go look it up when you get a chance. It's an hour-long documentary. I've recommended you watch it before. That's definitely something you need to go out of your way and peep out. But in his first debut with Washington, they took on the New Orleans Saints, and they were victorious. The final score was 26-20. So I just couldn't help but, after hearing what was going on with Ron Rivera, and then, oh, wow. So God bless Ron Rivera. I hope that he's able to kick this cancer's ass, and he's able to get out there and really, I know one thing I can say, being here in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, one thing I can say about our sports out here, especially with the teams that we have out here and everything, the culture, everybody does a really good job in rallying together and really making, okay, your fight is our fight. We're going to pick up this mantle and we're running right there with you. We're with you from the beginning to the end. We're all in this together. And I know with regards to this probably long battle that Ron Rivera is going to be having, I know that the players, the staff, management, but ultimately the fans, they're all are going to be right there with Ron Rivera. And Now, as far as what do I think is going to happen with this Washington team as far as their season goes and their record and all that, well, that season there with Vince Lombardi, Washington had ultimately went 7-5-2. Looking at this Washington team for this season, I can see maybe, what is it now? 17 weeks of regular football or whatever. I could see maybe 8 to 9 wins. I can't see anything past that. Will they make it into the playoffs? No, I'm not seeing that. 8 or 9 wins. 9 is being very fucking generous. I did check out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game against the New Orleans Saints. I did watch that. I know Bruce Arians said a few things about Tom Brady. I'm well aware of that. Look, in a nutshell, I'm not in the excuse business. I said that before. But what I will say is this. Repetition. These guys got to get used to playing together. These guys got to get used to building that camaraderie. They got to get used to being on the same page. Whatever you're doing in practice, that's practice. The virtual stuff, yeah, that's all nice as far as staying in communications with your partners, teammates and all that other stuff, management, all that. That's great. But when it counts the most and it's time for you to go on the field and it's time for you to collide, what I saw from Tom Brady, pick 6, the 2 overshot throws to that one guy. I got it in my notes. I want to say Evans. Was it Evans? Was it Evans? I'm just looking at my notes here. Give me a second here. I'll have his name in a hot second. Because I had wrote some of the stuff down. Mike Evans. Yep, Mike Evans. Yeah, I mean, he overshot him. Mike knew where he was supposed to be. He knew the route that he was supposed to. And see, people that don't really understand football like that, I don't want you just thinking, oh, well, he just fucking threw it any old fucking where. Nah, man. When you are wide receiver, halfback, or whatever, you're studying the plays, and when something is called, you know your assignment. You know what you're supposed to do. You know what route you're supposed to take and everything. And you're supposed to assume while also kind of making eye contact with your quarterback that, okay, yeah, he's going to be coming to me. But those 2 throws that Brady did to Mike Evans, overthrew those motherfuckers like I don't know what. I don't know if he was fighting some demons or what, but to hear Bruce Arians not sugarcoat what he thought of Brady's performance overall against the Saints, it was refreshing to hear. I'm sure Brady appreciates the constructive criticism. I'm sure he's not sitting somewhere acting all like a big baby, pouting and all that other shit. I'm sure he's really taking it to heart. I'm sure that's not the way he was expecting for his debut to go down. But I'm still pretty confident in him. I think they're going to be able to work out the kinks and everything. I like seeing all these people say, Super Bowl this, Super Bowl that, playoffs. Yes, I can see the playoffs. I got to look at the rest of their schedule, and we could talk more about their schedule and a couple other teams on the next show. But I got to see a couple more games. I don't want to be so critical right now. I need to see at least the next 2 to 3 games at most, and then I can really build from there what I think ultimately is going to be happening with the Bucs. But Drew Brees and the Saints, they look like they didn't miss a fucking beat. They look like, and see, they got the repetition. They've got pretty much that formality. They've got that consistency and the reliability, everything that's essentially already been there. They already got that, so they don't need to, Brady looked okay. I mean, if I had to give him an overall grade, I would say his overall grade for that performance, I would probably give him C plus. Can't go any higher. I can't go any lower. C plus. That's the best I can do for the man. That's the best I can do for the man. See who else? Oh, by the way, with regards to how the teams decided they were going to, in their own respected right, protest what's been going on in this country without getting too political. I watched from NFL Game Day to the NFL Today on CBS to Fox NFL Today or whatever they call their show, all those pre-shows. I did watch all of them. And I got to tell you, just all of that combined with watching how the games had went without getting too political, it's so refreshing to my ears to hear all the people on the pre-shows really trying to spread the message, hey, these players were never protesting the flag. That's not what it was about. It was never about the flag. This is what they were trying to talk about. And as long as you understand what they were trying to talk about initially, what they were taking a stance on, then it's about, okay, now let's have a discussion and let's try to unite to fight this cause. I got to tell you, watching the Thursday night game, I cringed a little bit at hearing some of the people boo. That didn't really sit well with me. Because at that point, the game I'm talking about on Thursday night, like at that point, you didn't see anybody kneeling. Everybody was locked in arms, standing dead center of the field, and yet you had people in the stands that were booing, and I just couldn't help but go, who the fuck are these people that are booing? Do they not know someone that has experienced some type of racial injustice, or do they not have a heart? I just couldn't help but kind of question without getting too deep there, but it rubbed me the wrong way. It really rubbed me the wrong way. I like how the NFL is handling things right now, but I'll tell you this. They got to do like the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if you guys have watched the NFL Today on CBS, but that story that Nate did with Baltimore Ravens and how all the players, they didn't just write a letter to the Senate Majority Leader and all of that. I mean, it wasn't, it's one thing if you're gonna, hey, blah, 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 blah. But to put action behind those words, and that's what the Baltimore Ravens did. They had all these players sign this statement, basically sent it to Mitch McConnell and talked about, why they felt XYZ was wrong. It wasn't just an open letter of complaining. It was also, okay, look, these are the steps we should be taking to make sure that something like this doesn't happen again to Breonna Taylor, or insert whatever name you want to insert. And I kind of feel like Kenny the Jet Smith in this standpoint, because I like the views that he always brings up. One of the most insightful people on Inside. Shaq brings it up constantly as well. The protesting and all that, it's great, especially when you're doing it in the most peaceful way that's humanly possible. It's great. But the protesting and all that, it doesn't mean anything if you're not putting any action behind it. You got to make sure, as I've said on this show off and on the past couple of weeks, you got to make sure that you're going out there, you're casting your votes from top to bottom. You're casting your votes. You're making sure that as far as, okay, we're trying to have this law pass, yay or nay, you got to make sure you're calling your local representative, senator, congressman, whatever, governor. You got to make sure you're letting your voices be heard. you got to get involved. You can't just do it from the sidelines. But that was a really good story that Nate did when he was talking with the Baltimore Ravens. We need to see more unity, just how we see the great unity that's going on with the NBA players. And now we're starting to see it with the owners and everything. We need to see that trickle down to the NFL players. I mean, after all, it's almost 73% minorities there for the NFL. About 73% minorities that are players for the NFL. And we pretty much know that the majority of the owners, they're white. So, we really need to see the owners and the players for the NFL get on the same page and, pretty much go from there. NBA playoffs wise, I'm very concerned about the Clippers. Because now that the Denver Nuggets have beaten them consecutively now, Nuggets got swag. They've got confidence. Hey, this team is beatable. We can beat these guys. I watched the game on Friday night, September the 11th. Let me tell you something. Kawhi Leonard with his 36 points, that's great. Zubac, 9 points. Paul George, you only got 6 points. Like, come on now. Come on. No, that ain't happening. That ain't happening. And you have it so close there when you look at the September 11th game on Friday, and then when you looked at the game on Sunday, the Sunday night game, 98-111. I mean, this is what I don't understand. The Los Angeles Clippers in these past two games, okay, we're leading. We got them trailing. We got this, but then that lead, they lose it. I'm dumbfounded by this. I really am. I look at the game on September the 13th. Paul George, 33. Okay. Zubac, 12. Okay. Kawhi, 5 points? 5 points? Kawhi, 5 points? Look, I would not be surprised if the Clippers lose to the Nuggets. I would not be surprised. I'm rooting for the Clippers because I just feel that offensively they've got more firepower and they can really give the Lakers a run for their money. I think they are the team that poses the most serious threat. But I'll tell you this, if the Clippers have any chance of advancing, if they've got any chance in defeating the Denver Nuggets, and that game's going to be coming up Tuesday night, I think TNT is going to be having it. You got to have an outstanding performance from George, Zubac, and Leonard. Like, I'm gonna tell you what's going to be the keys to victory for the Clippers right now. When it's all said and done, Paul George, Kawhi, they need to combine for 60 points or more for Game 7. They need to combine for 60 points or more. Anything less than 60, I don't think they're going to win. Zubac, if Zubac can come in there with like at least 15 points, okay, cool. If he can come in there with at least 15 points, that's fine. But I mean, look at the stats as far as the scores for the first three quarters as they were getting ready to go into the fourth quarter. Let's go back to the Friday night game real quick here. Look at this. Quarter one, Denver 23, Clippers 28. Quarter two, Denver 21, Clippers 28. Quarter three, 29 points, Clippers 24. Now, look at the Sunday game. Quarter one, Clippers 34, Denver 26. Quarter two, Clippers 29, Denver 21. Quarter three, Clippers 16, Denver 30. So, again, George, Leonard, they got to be combining for 60 points or more. Anything less than 60, like if they combine for 55, 50, I don't think that's going to be enough. That's going to be what I'm looking for the most as far as like the key to victory for the Clippers side. But trust me, I would not be shocked if they lose. We'll see what happens. That should be a damn good game. If you'd have told me we'd see 2 really cool kick-ass game 7s, man, I'd be like, man, nah, hell nah. But it looks like we're going to get another kick-ass game 7. So I'm looking forward to it. Other than that, I think we're good, man. I think we could go ahead. We could stick a fork in it. We could say this show is DONE, done. Hey, man. All right. So at this point, your next show, it's kind of weird what's going on here because programming wise, first off, there's not going to be a show next Monday. Next Monday is going to be, let me look at the calendar here. Next Monday is going to be the 21st of September. There's not going to be a show. I'm going to be taking a personal day off. Give myself a nice little breather there. So keep that in mind. Now, as far as what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week, I will be doing a Friday show. We were supposed to give you guys a Friday show last week. I actually was having internet problems, and long story short, I have Verizon come out, and it turns out my box was having issues. I don't know how many of you guys have Verizon Files, but when you tell them initially where you want your stuff to be installed, there's this medium-sized beige, grayish-looking box that they install, and if you open that bad boy up, you take away the cover, there's a battery that's in there. It looks like an oversized size D battery, basically. And over the weekend, it completely died out. I was seeing a little bit of stuff leading up to the weekend, and I didn't really think nothing much of it. But since I happened to be home last Friday, I'm like, okay, I'll do some stuff around the house. All right, I'll kick back. I'll do some stuff on the internet, work on some voiceover projects. I didn't have any internet. I'm going, what the hell's going on? I told the missus, like, what's going on here? And we're troubleshooting and everything. And finally, I go downstairs. I open the box, and it's got a little diagram. Okay, if it's doing this, this is what's going on. If you notice that this is not blinking correctly, this is what your issue is. And it was like, oh, okay, so the battery's dead. Fucking yay. So we had a technician come out Saturday, and they basically took that box and they installed a much smaller one, and they were like, okay, you're good to go. We're like, really? That's it? Like, yeah, you're good to go. Like, okay, cool. So that's why we were not able to do content for you guys last week. But we will be definitely doing a show for you guys this Friday. So that's going to be your next show. I'll be coming on Friday afternoon, actually. So as long as you're staying connected throughout social media, you guys will definitely know when I'm going to be live. Please, if you enjoyed the episode, once again, please leave the like, subscribe, all that jazz. Helps out tremendously. And we'll do this again for you guys very shortly. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. For those of you that's going to be looking for the audio version of this, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just trying to figure out if I can pull it off tonight or if I should do it tomorrow. I'm going to say enjoy the webcast show for now. I won't be editing the audio version of this until Tuesday night, after I get in from work. Because if I were to edit it right now, that's going to at least take me until close to 3 o'clock, and I ain't interested in being up until 3. That's just me, but appreciate the webcast version for now. All right, guys. All right, much love. Until next go around, wishing all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. To those of you that was checking out the show live, appreciate you all. Appreciate the interactions. Minus the trolls. Appreciate the interactions. And those of you that's going to be checking this out on demand and on the downloads, much love as always. Peace, y'all. Take care.